George Kirkpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. We got a brother, longtime friend in the community, Walt Dixie. Walt, we go way back, brother.
Yeah.
For real, for real.
Well, hey, listen, like I told you earlier, I'm a classic A-track guy. But before we start off, I just want to, as you as a mega brother, we lost a great soldier, Roland Grimes,
Yeah.
amazing brother. He worked for me a year or so prior to leaving Syracuse. It was just sad, and I hope you guys would definitely honor him in some way. But what a great guy to go to leave this earth so young. So I just want to,
Well,
on
he
behalf of
never,
me and my family,
but yeah, and he's such a great loss. Never pledged though. Never pledged. Believe it or not,
right,
never did.
yeah.
Never did.
So I wanted to say that. And
Yeah.
second, as you know, this is early voting started yesterday. So
Yes.
today is Sunday, we're taping. And so, people need to go out and vote. So all this from the 25th to November 1st, you can vote at the Southwest Community Center. You can go
Right.
online, get Democratic Party, and get the schedule.
And in
It is
fact,
so
it's from
important that we vote.
this Sunday until next Sunday. So you can vote
Yes.
from this Sunday to today until next Sunday. And by the way, Walt is president of the Alliance Network. What's the Alliance
Yes.
Network, Walt?
Yeah, we've been around for a while, and basically, we've been a group that advocates for social, political justice, economic justice in our community. We've been known to do a lot of elections, and folks know us out there. But I just felt today when I talked to you about, I'm just feeling in our neighborhoods, we're not as revved up, understand this voting, what we need to be doing with the state, with this
Right.
president. He's becoming unglued every day.
Right.
And from him trying to, take away the Obamacare in a pandemic to trying to reduce food stamps, Section 8, the lifelines of our country
Right.
that would make us unique. This guy
Right.
is trying to unravel that, and we
Right.
can't have that.
Right. Trying to take away basic needs and
Yes,
necessities of people. I get it. I
yes,
understand it. But what? I heard something the other day, Walt. And I know you and I are not young whippersnappers, although we look like it. We're not young whippersnappers, but I heard something the other day that really startled me, and it was Charlemagne the God, who's obviously part of the Breakfast Club. He's on Revolt TV, and he said that black that Trump has an appeal to young African American youth between the age of 18 to 25, that they like his swagger, if you will. And this is probably this is interesting because you had two prominent figures in rap. Now they're not young either, but like 50 Cent this week talking about he's gonna given Biden's tax plan, he's voting with Trump, which that could influence some folks. And then you had Ice Cube with his contract, his Black America contract plan that Trump had is that he submitted, and Trump said they want to have a conversation about it, and they're trying to use him, and so black folk have come for both of them. So, do you believe that there's this kind of appeal to Trump to young black men? And I point that out because in the 2016 election, it was black men and white women
yeah.
who really helped Trump erase those margins, especially in some of those states. So, do you believe it? And if so,
So
turn this around.
Cornell Bludger has said that, don't take the black young vote for granted. And I think what Biden has done is strategically make sure he don't make the mistakes that Hillary made. And
Mm-hmm.
as you know, the President Obama will be going out this week targeting that demographic as well to make
Right.
sure we understand the importance of that. You're always going to have fringes of any identity politics is always going to stray off, but it's not to the point that it's going to make this election different. This is a different election, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so even Ice Cube did walk back the perception.
Right.
And sometimes when this is not your real lane, don't try to get in the main lane, you
Right.
know,
Right.
because this work is complicated and we're seeing the erosion of our democracy. Like today, I really want to talk about the judge races, right? I just want to, like, as we're having this conversation, you have Julius Cesario,
Julie
and
Serio. Julie Serio.
so she's running for a family court judge, county court judge, as well as Paula England. Now these are
Right.
two fine women.
The
Then you
family
got
court
Shadi,
judge. Family court judge.
family court judge. Then you in the city you got Shadia Tedrow and Felicia Pitts Davis is running. And when we're talking about law and order, we're talking about reforming the criminal justice system. Then the disparity of sentencing and guidelines, how we criminalize young men and women, men in particular, these four women in my mind have high character. And I think you're going to hear the President Obama talking about character matters. We're at a point in this life, in this country with Donald Trump, character doesn't matter. But at the same day, I ask myself, those who support Trump, would you want your daughter to date him? If the answer is no, based on character, why are you giving away your vote to him? And that's the part that I continue to wrestle with. While listen to Morning Joe talk about, when he talk to his Republican friends, they say they like the tax cuts or this, that, but it's a bigger picture. But this guy's trying to erode democracy.
Yes,
right?
he is. Even Michael Steele, the chair of the Republican Party, is voting for Biden this year.
Yes. And that's why it's so important that in Syracuse, Shadi has been a mentor of Judge McKinney and Alan Rosenthal. She gets it. I think with her leading the charge with the judges that's coming on city and county courts, we need to look at internally the way it's operated. You don't see a lot of diverse clerks that's working there of color, right? So I think with these women coming aboard, when I talk to them, I'll be coming out to formally endorse them, is that I'm hopeful that because of their high character, they can help reshape the system in Syracuse. I ain't talking about the world, I'm talking about Onondaga County. And I think the brick by brick is important on that. And so this is why this election mattered. And then during a couple of weeks, I'll talk about other candidates, but we really got to do a better job in terms of how folks are standing. When I think of young, let me just splash for a minute. Wouldn't it be amazing if we got the judges in the city of Syracuse saying low-level offenders, that we expunge their records, if they stay off the blocks, they get their life in order, they go through some structure, they give them a second chance. Judges need those discretions of how do we rethink how we sentence folks. Now, if you shoot someone, you a big time drug dealer or something like that, I get that. You beat your wife or something, that's a violent act. But the non-violent acts that we have more folks that are incarcerated, sitting in the jail and what have you. And there's something that even Ted Leppard, who's a fine man who did not win his primary, I read the article the last week in the paper, even he mentioned the the bail reform is important. You can tweak it, but there are a lot of folks in jail, they can't get out of jail. So when you see Republicans demonizing folks that are getting out of jail, if they can afford to get out, they'll be out. So if you have money, you stay in until you go to court. Because we forget, you're not guilty until you're innocent until you're proven guilty. So the message is being muddled about bail reform. And so, and I think these four women coming in can help with those issues. How do we deal with these sensitive topics? At the end of the day, we can't have a system where we have today. And so for those reasons, those four women, I feel that let's give them an opportunity to help change it. Don't go in with the same system. So we need to shake it up.
So the Alliance Network is supporting Julie Serio, Paula Engel, Shadia Tadros, and Felicia Pitts Davis. For the city court, that's Felicia Pitts Davis and Shadia Tadros. For family court, Julie Serio and Paula Engel. Those are the Alliance Network endorsements.
Right, absolutely. Because today I want to talk about the law and order and the work that you do in Georgia. And I just want to thank you that you got this extra hour, because we do need this community time. And I'm encouraging folks that don't know you to reach out to you to get on the show, because our neighborhood folks need to know this. And we got to get better as we move forward, so we have more hours of programming, because when we get our news, it's from these shows. I missed the Core Timers show. I missed the Rick Wright show. I missed the Jaime show. That's where we get our information from on Sundays, and what you do. And so so we have a smaller captured audience today, and thank God that you're still trying to hang in there and do what you do. So, so all of us that got friends out there, we know corporations and companies, encourage them to advertise. Because let me just say, the primary bank president met with me and asked me a question: what can I do? My daughter gave me a book about white privilege. He's the president of a bank. He's going through this metaphor about thinking about himself. And I said, you guys in the business of making money. But what's important that you invest in the organizations and the people on the ground that's doing the work. That's not your work, but you can help in other ways, right? And we got to get the foundations to understand that we need more of these shows on so
Sure.
folks can get this information. Now, I do want to also put out there too that, I did put my name in for the council seat that's out there, right?
So
For the
talk
common
about,
council.
so what's going on with that?
Well, I don't know yet. They're going to make a decision on who they're
So
going to interview. So that's not been
what
told
what's
yet.
what seat is open?
Ted
Educators.
Rudd, Ted Rudd took a job as the budget director for the city.
And so
So there's an open seat.
there's an open seat.
So
Okay.
the council has the right to put some. So I think there are 14 or
And
15
it's
people.
at large seat
It's
or
at large.
yeah.
Right. And so I'm at a place now, George, that we need folks to step up, not just be in office, be about these challenges. Like I just gave you an example. How can we get judges to sit down and give low offender kids that's on these blocks in the center to get off the block,
Right.
but make sure they change their ways and give the support system. And let me share something with you decades ago that I saw in Harlem when we was running a youth build program. I was in Harlem and they took us on a tour, and the Cribs and Bloods played softball with kids in a park. They laid down their guns, they allowed that to happen. But more importantly, those kids, some of those gay members, if they really wanted to go into the youth build program, they was allowed to go transition to that program with no harm to them, because those gangs recognize it was a good program, right? And some people may start in that journey, they're not, right? We got to do the same thing here. How do we get these young kids on blocks to
Right.
put down their guns and what have you? Because clearly we as a collective community, as adults, are not talking to these kids.
Right.
We talk about them, but we're not talking with them. We don't go where they're at. You got to go out in the street at midnight where they're at, 1 o'clock in the morning. You got to meet them where their life is. You got to go in the corners of the stores they hang out and just begin to have a conversation with them. But we got to have something behind the conversation to give them an incentive to change, an opportunity. And then there'll be folks say, what about the good kids? We got to continue to support good kids, but we can't have kids causing havoc in neighborhoods that people have to live in and you get stray bullets. Like my Tyrese Rufus Karras, my cousin, son was murdered at my sister's house. Someone knocked on the door and shot him, but they went to the wrong house.
Sorry for your
Right?
loss.
Yes, but that also struck me that I'm trying to do economic justice, and in a part of me saying, I think I can get my voice out there. I think I have a voice, and at the end of the day, Desi tells my daughter, says, Desi, sometimes you got to show people more than you tell them how to do things. And so that's that passion I have. That's why these judges are important as we develop this relationship they get in. We got to figure out how do we address that particular issue right then. There's other issues, but that's an issue that I want to go on the blocks as an elected official, finding the resources for these young men and women, support services, because also they got families that got issues, right? They got crises in the house. We don't know what kind of home they come from, the pressure in their house, the lack of a father, for a better word, not there. There's a lot of work we got to do that we're not unraveling. And to me, if you're going to get calm in these streets, we got to go right where the beat's at. We got to do that. And so we can't have folks just want to pray. I ain't knocking prayer. It's important. But we got to go knock on these doors. We got to go in these corners and meet these guys.
Let me say something about that, because I think that's a very important thing you said. I mean, and it sounds like you're saying, yeah, prayer is one thing, but prayer is one thing. And I think I'm going to amplify what you're saying. It's one thing amongst many things. We must pray. No question about that. And we must knock on the doors, and we must provide mentors to young people, and we have to do something about this disparity during this COVID that's created around this distance learning, where not everyone has access to the technology, and you follow me? So, a lot of people say, well, we got to do more than pray. We have to pray, and I think that's how we have to say
No, that's correct.
Right?
But I think sometimes it's like,
People
sometimes you pay hold on, watch this. Sometimes you go pay your dues, or you go to an NACP dinner or NAN dinner or whatever, and you think you check the bucket list.
You think you did something.
More than that lack nothing efforts. It's more than just doing that. Right. And that's what we get tripped up at. And and here, we got an amazing community because we have a black middle class in the
Right.
suburban community, east side, that
Right.
we need to be tapping into that richness as we move forward. And we got to have these conversations. We need political leadership that has this kind of conversation so we provoke the thoughts.
Yeah.
So
What,
that's where I'm at today.
what I'm interested in, Walt, and I think, and I'm asking your help with this because what I see right now, what I want to create, and I've been talking about this for years, I want to create a conversation on this platform where we have leadership that has been in place and the up and coming leadership in the same conversation.
Yes.
Because here's what we got to know, folks. What these young people are experiencing talking about is different than what we've experienced and talk about. But what happens is, this is my perception. My
Right.
perception is, well, we think what they're doing is, we don't know if what they're doing is going to work, and they're saying, but this is what we want to do. And so how do we create a synergy where we mentor and help them, not tell them, but mentor and help them, because we think we know better. Think about it. Back in the day when the civil rights movement was going on, we had established leadership in the community, and what did they say? Y'all are making too much noise. Y'all are too radical, right? What are some people saying about these young people today? Oh, y'all gonna march out here like that? That's the wrong strategy. Y'all not organized enough. What about the support and mentorship to take the best of the movements and support them, right?
So so here's the challenge. So your point as well. So Black Lives Matter is unique because it didn't come from the church, right? We come from a civil rights that come through the church for structure. So this is more organic with young people that's necessarily not identified through church. So the way we think of structure is not their way of thinking of structure. We are the true 8 tracks to them, right?
Right.
So in that metaphor.
They probably even
But
know what that is.
right, they don't. I always tell them to Google it. But
Yeah.
the more important, if you have Last Chance, you got Curtis Grimes, one of the guys there, amazing guys. You got Rebirth, Twiggy Moritz, Twiggy's son, and you got other groups. You got Keezy, Rashida out there. You got a lot of folks doing stuff, right? But where they will have to grow is that all you can do is encourage folks. Because when I came out, there was folks that said, and Reverend Cheeks always told me keep my head up. Don't worry what they say, because anytime someone rises up, there are always folks instantly want to pull you down for no reason. So one thing I'm conscious, never push people down, but I've had conversation with some of these folks on one-on-one. I say, do your homework. You're gonna fall, but get up. But it has to be in their eyes because young people have different needs and how they see the world. So the work that Spark is doing, but police reform, the mayor has been doing amazing work. You have to support that. And so you don't have to be at every table with them, but as at the end of the day, my mind, if they trust you. So one of the things we did this year, right? When they asked, Curtis said, well, where is the Black leadership and everybody in the community? So Nan, through my leadership with Twiggy, we did that march, remember, from Martin Luther King downtown. That's the most you've seen Black folks in the movement of adults, right? So but we didn't take it over. We have been a part of the organic making the movement. And we have to be conscious that we don't tell them what to do, but explain to them, if you want to, at the end of the day, it's about documentation, it's about doing the paperwork, not just throwing the cocktail box, because we all have done that, but you got to take it to the next level. So we just got to just continue to pray there. And there's younger kids that's coming up behind them. I'm looking at with Yusuf at this Muslim young sister from Nottingham, very articulate. So they out there. We got to help them have a platform. So if anything you can do is reach out to them, give them a platform. And it's just like your kids. Sometimes your kids say things to you as an adult, as a father, that hurt your feelings because you think you all that. They say, Dad, let them tell their story in their way and don't take it personal.
Walter Dixie is the
All right?
president of the
Yeah.
Alliance Network. Walter, I got some voting information for folks. Let me tell you today, the Early voting polling hours are from 10 a.m. Right, so right during this, they open already. The
Right.
early voting polling is already open. The polls will be open for till 3 o'clock. Here are the locations: Camillus Fire Station, Clay Town Hall, DeWitt Town Hall, Lafayette Fire Station, Armand Magnavelli Community Center, and the Syracuse Community Connections Southwest Community Center. Now, here's the thing with the early voting. No matter where you are, so let's say you're at Great Northern Mall, you can
Right.
go to the Clay Town Hall if
Right.
you, even if you live on the south side of Syracuse, and vote. If you
Right.
if you live in Lafayette but want to vote on the south side, you can vote. If you
Right.
live in DeWitt but want to vote at the Armand Magnavelli Community Center, you can
Right.
vote. If you live in Camillus but you find that you on the west side, you can still vote. Let's say you can vote at the DeWitt Town Hall. It
Right.
doesn't matter. All of the early voting locations can take you wherever you are. They're already open. Today they're open till 3, and tomorrow they're open till 6, Tuesday till 8, Wednesday till 8, Thursday till 6, Friday till 6, and then the weekends 10 to 3. They're open on Tuesday and Wednesday from 12 to 8. Okay?
Yep.
That's your early voting information. Please, I'm voting early because
Right.
I'm not trusting the mail, and I'm not making any sort of thing. I
Right.
want to know my vote got counted. And
Listen, you see what happened in Georgia? They line it up. They line
listen,
it up.
all over the country. They lining
They
up.
line it up.
This is one of the most important things you're gonna do this time. And let me talk to my young brothers, my young black brothers out here. Don't fall for the okey doke. It's a
Right.
okey doke with the
And
45 in the White House.
yeah, and let me say this too to our young followers and the grandparents. You know, we have grandparents that rely on Social Security, rely on their Section 8 vouchers. If this Trump administration continue to do what they want to do, what people don't know, Trump is trying to give you don't have to pay Social Security taxes in companies, but you got to pay back later on. He's trying to bankrupt Social Security.
Yeah, he is. That's
Literally, and people don't, and we're not catching that. We're not even. We got to make sure that's your future having a Social Security.
it's what is. All right, Walter, we got to run out of here.
Okay,
Thank you.
right.
Dixie is the president of the Alliance Network. Take care.
I'll see you next week.
See you next time. Talk to you soon.